Hi guys, how cute is this card? Oh my gosh, how cute is this card? I can't believe I made this. Honestly, it's just so darling. So I can't wait to show you this card. It's so, anyway, like I told you, my Star Wars journey of creation has been quite eventful and exciting and I don't know, just super fun. So I hope you guys enjoy this card. Don't forget, I have a Whatnot show on May the 4th with my pin crafts as well as my cards and a variety of different Star Wars related things. So please tune in. I really, really hope you come. That would be awesome. If not, I just really hope you enjoy this video. It was just fun to make this. We call this punch art because I used a bunch of punches in order to be able to make this one, and they call it punch art. And so that's the technique that I was used in this particular craft. Hopefully you'll like it. And yeah, please comment, like, subscribe, all the things. I'm grateful that you're just here. And I don't know, I'm loving my little like Grogu on my shoulder. I just think he's, my friend Tiffany told me that I would love getting a shoulder pal, and it was this whole thing, and I was like, whatever. And I didn't realize I was a grumpy old man, but I guess I kind of am, but it's fine. Tiffany told me she has a hey, and she talked about how amazing it was and all this. And then I got my Grogu, and now I like never want to take him off. Anyway, beside the point. Appreciate you guys being here. I really hope you enjoy this. Thanks so much, you guys, and you have an excellent day. How darling is this card? It's so, so fun. So can't wait to get this one started for you guys. So this is my little Grogu card. Super fun. The paper we're using today is the same paper I used for the Ewok cards, except it's the other side of that paper. I used this forest, the top. I just used this top piece to make my Ewok card. But these bottom pieces just looked kind of funny. They didn't have the same effect of the forest behind the Ewok, in my opinion, because they were a little too abstract in a small area. You couldn't really see the tree aspect of them because the abstractness just made it harder to use for the Ewoks. So I was thinking about how I could use this paper. Well, I really like this backside pattern, and this color scheme made me think a lot of Grogu. And that's how I came up with that particular card this particular card was because of that. So the paper we're using today is, we're using a 4 1/4 by 11-inch Lost Lagoon cardstock. Remember, you can pick up supplies at fabulousstamper.com. This is current cardstock. This paper here is Mossy Meadow, and it is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And this is current cardstock. You can also pick it up at fabulousstamper.com, but this paper is retired. We don't have this paper anymore, but I will put on the screen some of my friends who you could possibly buy this paper from if they have it. Oh, I forgot to tell you the name of the paper. The name of the paper is Enjoy the Journey, and it's a retired paper. And like I said, I don't sell retired product, but a lot of my friends have extra stock of it, and of not just this paper, but lots of different products, and they might be able to have it provide it for you. So just keep that in mind. We're also going to be using a 4-inch by 5 1/4 piece of white cardstock, also available at fabulousstamper.com, and this little scrap, this little scrap of paper on our layer. So let's go ahead and get our basic layers all glued. The base of this card, I think, is fairly simple. Okay, we'll put this on the inside. I always put this white piece on the inside because I just think it makes it more of a finished card and just make it look nicer and better quality. Oops, there's some glue. That's my personal opinion. Okay, let me there's a little bit of glue there. Let's pick that glue. This is a glue eraser. I just got this at Dollar Tree, and I will link these in my Amazon storefront as well in case you wanted to pick them up, because They do sell them on Amazon. I've bought one there. It just picks up the glue. You kind of need to let it dry, but it just picks up any extra glue. And they call it a glue eraser, but it's not really an eraser, but I don't know what it is about the rubber of this particular type of rubber. It's a piece of rubber, but there's something about it that picks up the glue. I can't totally explain it, but it just picks up the glue. So then we're going to take our layers and glue those all together. Just this color scheme is very Grogu. Because I think because, you know, he has the frog, and maybe that's why it's, you know, the blue is hinting at the frog or the blue milk, or, you know what I mean? It's like hinting a little bit at some of these other, you know, very Mandalorian Grogu style things. So maybe that's why I thought this was a good layout for Grogu. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and punch out this is gray granite. It's just a light gray. Oh, there's a little tearing on that. It's a light, gray granite is a gray, it's a lighter gray that we carry at Stampin' Up. This is current cardstock. So you want to get like half of a circle, and I'm just guesstimating with my eyes. I'm not, but I just have to make sure that edge is nice and sharp and flat. So I'm using this cut piece over here, but you just have to make sure it's a nice flat piece. Okay, so once you have your circle and your half circle, obviously we're making the little pod for Grogu. This is again a 1 3/4 inch punch. So once I have that, we're going to make this, dirty up this little piece. I'm also using this is Cinnamon Cider Designer Series paper. It's retired. I only chose this paper because it was texture. It had a texture on it. So I'm going to go ahead and punch out a circle, a 3/4 inch, 1 1/4. No, this is 1 1/4 inch circle from this. Again, Stampin' Up! Doesn't make this punch anymore. This actually is from EK Success. I bought it there before. And so this design is from EK Success, and I just really like their particular products. I just like it. And Stampin' Up! Makes their contracts with them for these particular products, but we don't have all the circle punches. They come back in waves. So we don't have this one, but you can find it other places, as well as you can always find retired product from some of my friends. First thing I want to do is we have to dirty up this little, there's a little bit of, my punch tore the paper a little bit. I think because there was there was too little paper. Sometimes when you're punching a piece of paper a little too close to the edge of the punch, it'll leave like, it'll almost tear the paper. It's just like gravity pulls on it a little. So I'm just using a little nail file. You know, I think this is probably from the Dollar Tree. Someone gave it to me. I don't really do my nails and stuff. So as you can see, I'm very, I don't know. I always like my nails when they're done, but I just never do them. But I probably should, since I'm always doing these videos for you guys. Maybe I'll up my game. So I just trimmed that off just so that it was a nice edging, even though we are dirtying up this thing a little bit. So as you can see, it covers halfway. Now, this is too plain. The reason why I'm shading it is when I put the pram against the pattern paper, it looks fine, but it's just not great. It's not really screaming out anything. So I'm going to go ahead and shade it in. So the first thing I'm going to do, I think there's a little bit of ink left. No, not really. I think it dried up. I was using it earlier. A little hair there. Okay. And so I'll always start off your project and then move on. I want this right side to be kind of dark. I'm going to be coloring the whole thing, but I really want this right side to be a little bit darker than the other side, just to give a dimension. So we'll go ahead and add a little bit on this side, but the key was trying to add that darkness to the right side. And it just it just changes. See how different that is? I mean, it changes the color of the gray, but it adds quite a bit of dimension. Let me hold it up closer. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. You see how there's like this nice little dimension that's added there just in shading. That's where shading can really come in handy. I know I've primarily used it for other things like embossed folders and stuff, but it really can do really cool stuff, you know, when you're using it. I've got another project for a sunset that I'm going to show you. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to just add some darkness to that right side, and then I'm going to color in the rest. But I really wanted to focus on that right side to add a little dimension. We aren't really going to see the bottom of this circle, but we just wanted to add a little bit of that in. I think that's dark enough. Then this is a very bright brown against the gray. So all we're doing is most of this little brown circle is going to get covered up as well, but I want most of that white to kind of disappear. And so we're just coloring it just to darken up this little textured paper. Just darken it, darken that white. I had some other paper I just realized that I could have used as well. That's like a like a canvas kind of paper, canvas looking paper. Okay, and we're just making that darker. Let's go ahead and shade this bottom because I'm pretty sure most of this little bottom spot will be covered up. But let's go ahead and add that gray in there just for good measure. All right, so everything is all nice and darkened, and including my fingernails because I got a little out of hand. I meant to tell you the blending brushes can all be picked up at fabulousstamper.com. They have large ones like this, but also the small ones, which I'll show you in another video. So these are really, really cool. The reason why these are better quality, blending brushes is because of the fact that they don't leave lint. They don't leave the hairs behind. The quality of the bristles is just really, really good. And as a result, you just don't have the leftover things that happen when you're using different types of brushes. It's just a good quality. If you don't have a blending brush though, you can also use like a Kleenex or paper towel, not Kleenex, too much lint, but paper towels. I've used other things when I didn't have a blending brush available because I didn't have the money for blending brushes. So I used paper towels, and I tend to get a lot of ink all over my fingers when I do this. So it's just a occupational hazard, I guess. I wonder if it would affect nail polish the same way, but it'll come off your hands. The alcohol wipe just kind of stops it from spreading onto my project. So what would happen if I picked up all my stuff right now is it would, I'll mark it with maybe a little bit of black ink from my nails or something. And then it doesn't ruin the project per se, but it'll definitely mess it up. So just to keep a nice quality. Okay, so we have our pram. Then we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just take my ruler. It's a clear ruler. This is not a perfect science. And I'm going to take a pencil. I'm intentionally using a pencil instead of a marker or a pen because I think the gray of the pencil looks good on the pram. And so, and I just using my clear ruler, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It just adds that little bit of dimension there. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you've ever used the 0.9 millimeter pencils. I am a hard writer. When I write, I tend to write really firmly. And as a result, I break the lead all the time. Not with the 9. I am amazed at how I don't break the lead anymore now that I changed up it was really hard to find that particular lead for a long time. And then all of a sudden they started making it recently. So I picked up a box at back to school time. I'll link it in my Amazon storefront. Okay, so I'm gonna just cut off a little bit here. So it's not a perfect science, but I'm just cutting off a little on the edge there. And then I'm gonna glue it down. And see, all the the lighter parts are down below they're gonna be below this line. And so that's what, I guess I didn't even have to cut it off. I could have just glued it on there. I don't know what I was really thinking, but I could have just glued it right on because it's going to get covered up anyway. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's not a perfect, so, you know, normally when I layer circles, they're perfectly proportioned, but I'm not doing that here. I want the circle, the little brown circle, to be, you know, it adds a dimension by having it off center, I guess, so to speak. Then we're going to go ahead and take our, there's a little scrap of paper I have. I want to say this is like 1/8 of an inch, this little piece. And all I'm doing is I'm going to just take a little, this is just a strip of 1/8 of an inch. That's actually a little bit longer than I wanted, I think. I want it a little smaller, I think. Yeah. Just adds a little something to our pram. Oh, it's so fussy. Okay. And I know I just cut it with freehanding it with my eyes, but it's so small. I don't think I really need to get the trimmer out. Yeah, that's the right size. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put 3 little lines, and I'm just freehanding it. I'm sure I could measure it. I know. But I'm freehanding it. You do what you need to do. I'm just going to freehand it because it's a card. It's not that serious. And, you know, sometimes it's okay for things to look homemade. You know? Okay. I almost need my tweezers. This is just a scrap of paper. And the reason why I chose this particular scrap is because it's actually vanilla. It's not, it's vanilla, not white. It looks white on camera, I'm sure, but it's vanilla. And it's a little bit wider than my little strip that I made, but that's okay. It's just the little buttons that are on the pram. Let's just get it centered. There we go. Good, good, good. And so, and now that it's, gives me a little chance to, and then we're going to take dimensionals and we're going to pop up the pram on dimensionals. We're just going to layer it. This is called punch art, like I was telling you, where you take shapes and then make them into other shapes. Now this is pretty easy because we've got half a circle and a circle and then another circle on the inside. So, but when we get to the little Grogu, it'll be fun. This is called soft sea foam. It's really hard to, well, I guess you can see the green on the screen, but it almost looks white depending on the lighting on your TV or device, but it's definitely a Grogu green. And I'm using a butterfly punch, a retired butterfly punch, and I'm sure you can guess what I'm going to do with it. So I can save that little green butterfly, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using the ears here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half here. And then I want to say I cut it. Yeah, I cut it like that. So I just cut this little piece off. Yeah, that's the shape. And so I just kind of tried to keep it straight and not get too obsessed with it. But I'm using the shape. It's really hard to get an identical shape twice, especially the reverse image. So what we're going to do is now this is going to be, yeah, this is going to be the top of his head, top of his ear, and this bottom part is going to be the bottom of his ear. And I'm just going to kind of round out that little bump, and that's going to help create the ear. Oh, I forgot to punch out a circle. And let me cut this one. And we're just gonna cut straight and round it out. Again, it's not a perfect science, but this was the best way for me to get the shape that I needed. I needed the top part of the butterfly wing because they're perfect mirror images of each other. It's very, very difficult to make mirror images freehand. So now I'm gonna cut out a little 3/4 inch circle, and that's gonna be his little head, just a 3/4 inch. And you see, so if I put him down, put his ears down like this, it looks a little more Dumbo-ish, you know, but if I put his ears straight out the side, it looked a little funny. So I needed to tilt them up just a little bit to get the right shape. And then we're just gonna glue it down. Put a little bit of glue on each one. Again, you can always pick up these current supplies like the glue, the paper, everything at FabulousStamper.com and click shop with me. And you can pick those up at Stampin' Up through my link. And all the credit, when you're checking out, just make sure it says Jennifer Jenkins when you're checking out, because that's the link for me. You can, of course, buy without my link. It's just, it helps me out if you do buy with my link. Oh, I got a little too much glue there. I really want the ears to be kind of long because, you know, that's what he's known for. So I think I have a little too much glue on that side. We'll see if I can erase it. Try and get him equal. That's good. We'll let that dry a second because we want to be able to erase that glue off the edge there. That looks about equal. We can go ahead and glue our pram down while we're waiting for that to dry. And I like things when they're off center. I don't really like, and you know, actually my brown circle is a little off center there and not in a good way. But once I have him on here, it'll distract your eye. So I don't know if you can see, but this left side is a little bit wider than this right side. And that's a mistake. I wasn't paying attention, or it slid when I was putting it together, but it's okay. It's good enough. It's good enough for the card. Just leave it. I'm a big fan of not throwing things away when you make a little mistake. Try to make the mistake work. Now we're going to be taking the classic matte dots. Now these are retired. Again, I'll put on the screen the name of my friends that have retired products. They might have more of these. These are most of the Stampin' Up's dots can make the perfect Mickey heads 99% of the time. Their proportion of their small and their like bigger almost always make perfect Mickey heads. I use them all the time for little Mickey heads. And we're taking the larger of the two black dots. I almost didn't put eyes on him, but I think he looks so much cuter with the eyes. Okay. And we're going to put a dimensional on the back of his head. And I think I put him on his ears too. That's like, is that down? I'm going to go ahead and put a dimensional, cut a dimensional in half and put it on his ears because I want to make sure his little, oh, these scissors are not loving this. Let's see. Let's try it before I pull off the glue. Yeah. I don't want the ears to rip off. So that's why I'm adding the dimensionals. Technically, I don't need to, but I'm adding them because, you know, I'm going to be selling this card or mailing it, and I want to make sure someone can enjoy it. So I added a little dimensional there, and that's covering up. It's distracting the eye. Remember how I told you the little brown was off center? Well, this is now like distracting the eye from that little error because his ears are right there. Oh, I needed to tuck him under. I was like, why does he not look right? It's because he's not tucked under. I was like, why is this not looking right? Oh, 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 oh. I ripped it. Oh no. Okay. Here's what we're gonna have to do. The ripping is just a little too bad. So this is called a take your pick tool, and it has a little spatula on it. Let me go ahead and, I used this earlier, so it's got some gunk on it. I used it earlier to fix something. A take your pick tool, so it's actually a good thing I can show you my mistakes, because a take your pick tool is it has a variety of different tools on the end of it that you can use for all kinds of stuff. So there we go. Let's just clean that off. This is just an alcohol wipe, just helping get that little glue off. The reason why the spatula is good is because it'll help you slowly lift up whatever it is you need. And then I can switch the other side around. And if I need a little poking, piercing tool, there's my piercing tool. And then there's also a brayer, not a brayer, a scoring tool. And they also have another one that's like a brush. They have a couple different tools that go in the end of this. They call it a take your pick. And this is a scoring tool. So if I want to score a little specific area with something, that's what I would do. So use this. And we're going to be using the spatula. And this side is actually it picks up little, it'll pick up little pieces. It's like a putty that'll pick up pieces. I don't use it that often. I really like my tweezers. I feel like I have more control with that. But it is a helpful tool. I know my friends use it all the time. So we're gonna go ahead and pick this up. Because I didn't put the glue across the entire back, I did just like a little circle. The spatula breaks the seal of the glue. And I should be able to pick it up. Good. See, I just had that one little circle. And then I can also use it to break the seal of the dimensionals here. There we go. And so this piece we can toss, and I still can use this half circle. And when I'm trying to get my dimensionals off, I tend to just kind of roll it away with my finger, and that'll help peel it up usually pretty quickly. So we're gonna go ahead and toss that. I hate that I'm starting over because I really don't do that. I usually try to just make it work. So now we can glue it back down. I'm scared to glue it back down right now. Let's see if we can pick up some of this excess, because sometimes the excess will make your card your embellishment like a little bumpy. So just picking up that little extra cardstock, just a little bit. I changed my scissors. These are Tim Holtz scissors. They're serrated scissors. I've talked about them before. I do have them on my Amazon storefront. They're just helpful because they're serrated. All right, let's go ahead and tuck him in. Before we glue everything down, let's tuck him in, and that way we're not messing up our craft one more time. We were really cooking with gas when I was first making this, but then got a little waylaid. There. I think that looks good. That looks good, and we're going to glue him down. And he's still tucked in, and I think him being tucked in really makes it a better craft. I'll be honest, I just do. Let's make sure that glue is sticking. That is our card. Sorry for the mistakes, you guys, but hey, I actually like mistakes. When I was a teacher, I used to show students all the time. I never gave them new pieces of paper when they'd make mistakes. I always tried to show them new ways to fix the mistakes. And 99% of the time, they wouldn't need a new piece of paper. We used to do projects, and they would draw a line, a single line, and they'd say, oh, and they'd want to throw the paper away. And I wouldn't let them. I would try to get them to use that line to their advantage, and they got really good at it by the, end of the year. Students were really, really good at it. And so there's our little Grogu cards. So cute. Be sure to check out my Whatnot show on Monday, May the 4th. I will have quite a few of these. Well, I'll have these for sale. I'll have also some pin crafts. So please check them out. All right. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.